So, so good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Research in the AI Era, actually, workshop series. And actually, today will be the series kickoff date. So, this is going to be a multi-session flexible workshop series. And I had to acknowledge the organizers. This is organized by the Artificial Intelligence Forum for Students, AIFS, AIFS. And this particular session is organized by the Physical Society of University of Peradeniya, which is the SPS International Chapter 5597 as well. So if you don't know the context, the Artificial Intelligence Forum for Students is actually a forum or collaboration of several student societies in the University of Peradeniya. And they are having several themes for their sessions. One is pop AI, the other one is core AI. And the research with AI is the new series the AIFS has started. And this will be the first session for the entire research with AI series as well. So this session is actually not this session, this entire series, the research with AI series, that is actually focused on the undergraduate and postgraduate students. What I'm showing is actually a survey we ran, some need or interest survey we ran before we start this session. So as you can see, our audience will be mostly university students. So as you can see, we have some first year students, then some second year students, and most of them are third year, fourth year students. And there are postgraduate students as well. Actually, they are one of our target groups. And what I would say or what I would see is they are the students who are beginning to do research. So they have the interest, but they might not have a big research experience. Let's say this is tailored to the university students with little to no research experience. Now that is on this pillar of research. And what we can see is most of the target group, basically you, have some idea or some experience with research. As you can see, like almost 70% of you use AI for regular tasks. And some even have advanced knowledge, or some of you even integrate AI into your research workflow. So basically, we have this 19% here. Our idea actually is to expand this green, fan out this green sector of the pie chart, or the people who integrate AI consciously into research workflow. We are going to, the objective of this session is actually to increase this green portion. So basically, you would be able to integrate AI efficiently in your research workflow by the end of, not even by the end, like when you engage with this session. And maybe we can we can increase this number of experts who develop or research AI systems as a consequence of this session, or basically the series. I always say session, and I mean series, right? And we have people, we kind of occasionally use AI, and majority has frequently used AI before. So our idea is to make you more efficient in that avenue. And there are students who did not start any research yet. And I think you are right here in the right timeline. So when you start research in your third year, fourth year, you will be actually propped up to use AI tools efficiently. And then we asked, like, what purpose you have used AI? So as I see, it's mostly for coding and programming, and there's a sufficient presence in brainstorming research ideas. Welcome to the club. And also writing and data analysis. So so you might see grant proposal writing is too far away from you a little bit, and research design, that is mainly we need to increase the usage of AI in research design as well. What we see is, like, 2/3 of the population, they manually do their research design, or somebody else would design their research for you. Doing research design by yourself is one big part of becoming an independent researcher or graduation, right? So we try to increase this segment here as well, and in other avenues as well. And then we asked, how we do rate the importance and everything. So one thing I want to roll back is, yeah, let's see, where is that? Yeah. So basically, if I move on in this session series or in this series, what we are planning to do is actually to invite expert resource persons every day. So we actually hunt down for these kind of people. Like let me show you the people or resource panelists which has research experience, which has also who has AI experience in that particular avenue, and also the teaching ability. So we are going to line up very effective series of resource panelists throughout the research with AI series. And if I tell you the story behind, one day I got a call from Miss Satya Vijayawardena. She was from computer science. She's a faculty member of the Faculty of Science. Now she's actually doing her PhD in the Department of Computer Engineering. So she one day like gave me a call and told like, there's a lot that we all, like including her, including myself, including the students, have to learn about doing research in the AI era, and why don't we, start some workshop? And then we immediately within 15 minutes, I think we contacted Professor Roshan Ragel, who's here. And with his help, we could actually flourish this idea or snowball this idea of having a series of sessions how to integrate AI into research. And I want to emphasize this is not just about research, because your departments might already have sessions on how to do research. And this is not just about AI, because our artificial intelligence forum for students, for staff, and for non-academic, so administrative staff, we have 3 pillars, and we all organize sessions on AI. Now, this is a blend between those things, and here we are going to go a little bit deep, right? Let's say moderately deep on how to do research, how to integrate AI into the research lifecycle or research workflow. And this is going to be a little in-depth series of sessions. So I have to acknowledge Ms. Satya Vijayawardena for giving the STEM idea. And also I have to again welcome Ms. Satya, Ms. Roshani from the parent body of AIFX, we would say, who's overseeing all this work. Welcome you all. And the plan is to start a broader discussion about AI in the research era, and then actually, day by day take like one topic to the table and discuss it, and how to, and discuss, say as an example, how to write review articles with AI, how to write review articles, and then how to integrate AI into that and get some questions. That is our work. That is what we are planning, um, in the future sessions. And yeah, we are going to be flexible as much as possible. So we might be able to accommodate some special topics based on your request. And we already have some input info, some survey information from you, what you would like to hear from us. And without any further ado, I would like to warmly invite Professor Roshan G. Ragel, a professor at the Department of Computer Engineering and the former head of the Department of Computer Engineering at the Faculty of Engineering University of Peradeniya, and also the current director of the Staff Development Center of the University of Peradeniya. So he's our guest of honor, or the keynote speaker to kick off the series on research in the AI era. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Kapila, and it's an honor to be the guest
And the inside.
and the inside. Okay. Right, so let's start. Like Kapila said, we wanted to run a series of discussions, experience sharing on how AI can be used in research and how we can do research with AI, right? So, and also AI, even like core research, there's enough and more AI used in every other field of research. So there's a lot of dimensions for what we are going to discuss. But today, the plan is to motivate and keep those who are joining today throughout the rest of the sessions or the rest of the series. So I see like we have about 150, 170 numbers increasing. And I hope we can motivate enough to show the potential of where and when we can use AI in research so that we can keep you motivated and join further sessions for deep discussions. So today I'm not going to go into the deep discussions, but I would skim through a lot of different ideas. Right, so let me share my screen and then start. I hope you can see my screen. So I'll start. Someone can
Yes,
someone
sir.
confirm?
The screen is visible, sir.
Okay, right, thank you. So I'll start with my so far favorite AI video. I have been playing this for about now 200, 300 times, but I'll play one more time.
I am a visionary. Illuminating galaxies to witness the birth of stars. And sharpening our understanding of extreme weather events. I am a helper, guiding the blind through a crowded world.
I was thinking about running to the store.
And giving voice to those who cannot speak.
Do not make me laugh.
I am a transformer, harnessing gravity to store renewable power. And paving the way towards unlimited clean energy for us all. I am a trainer, teaching robots to assist, to watch out for danger, and help save lives. I am a healer, providing a new generation of cures and new levels of patient care.
Doctor, that I am allergic to penicillin. Is it still okay to take the medications?
Definitely. These antibiotics don't contain penicillin, so it's perfectly safe for you to take them.
I am a navigator, generating virtual scenarios to let us safely explore the real world and understand every decision. I even helped write the script. Breathe life into the words en muchos idiomas y escribí la música. I am AI, Brought to life by NVIDIA, deep learning, and brilliant minds everywhere.
Yeah. So, like I said, that's a video I like. It's where AI is introducing itself. And now we are talking about research, and most of the topics that are covered in this video are about research. And or at least they were researched like a couple of years ago, right? So starting from things like driving autonomous vehicles, right? So where AI and computer vision has changed the way how the driving or navigating works, and many other examples. Music is another example, right? So we have a lot of work done on music synthesizers and composers. So for this particular video, the music was composed by an AI tool called IVA, and the tool has composed the whole music, and then people have played the music while it's composed by AI. So like that, you can think of, or you can look at several other examples where AI is integrated into uh, different type of research or even different type of workflows and so on. I'm sure based on the feedback we receive from the survey, most of you have some idea, and you are using AI tools or at least generative AI tools in your day-to-day work and life equally. Right, so that's where we are, and today we are planning on taking a step further and show you how AI can be used in research and where it is used in research. This is more of a glimpse. Research, if you want to learn every step of it, and also if you want to learn how we can use AI with it, it's a long process. It will take a while. So before we go further, I'm sure all of you are familiar with tools like ChatGPT. It has become popular so fast. So how it is measured in this particular graph is based on how long it takes, or these different tools take, to reach 1 million users. If you have heard recently the OpenAI CEO, ChatGPT as of now is used weekly by almost about billion users. The numbers are somewhere 800 plus million, right? So every week, about a billion users are going to ChatGPT. And it became popular so fast. 1 million users is reached just in 5 days. That's ChatGPT number, compared to many other tools that are older. And so you can see tools like Facebook is pretty old. 2004, it took 10 months to reach 1 million. One popular tool could be recent ones is Instagram. It's still in use by large. And that again took about 3 months to reach, or 2.5 months to reach 1 million users. But 1 million users in ChatGPT just took 5 days. And also, like I said, it's being used by almost a billion users now. So its usage is nothing a surprise, right? So all of you using it is not something that is unexpected, right? But at the same time, the usage of these tools were considered, at least, so even now are also considered a bit not so good, right? So here are some items related to this. These were published mostly. These articles popped up in 2023, and most of them, as you can see, highlights how tools like ChatGPT or generative AI tools are influencing the field like research, education, and so on. Mostly talks about education, but it's not always true, right? So I hope all those who are using the tools now, these generative AI tools, realize that we can also use it for good. So we also can do some good with it, but we have to make sure it's used in the right way, right? So the whole intention of this series of workshop we are planning with the AI for students or AI forum for students is that to discuss and to share these good practices, what works, what doesn't work, why some things don't work, and why others work. Understanding this in the context of research, right? So the main part is the context of research. So, like I said, it's a multi-tier approach, and also there are many aspects to it when it comes to if you want to put AI and research together, there are multiple levels, right? So one, can I do research using AI tools, like any research? The research itself doesn't have to be AI involved, but let's say a research in a field which is very much away or not AI integrated yet, a field of that nature, can I use AI to do such research, right? So starting from there, it could be another spectrum where the research itself is completely AI based, or the research itself is on AI. Let's say we are going to come up with new AI model for model as research, right? So anything in between is AI plus research, right? So where AI and research are coming together. So what we are going to focus mostly in this discussion is more towards the AI. Can it be used in different type of research? So I said like there's two extremes, right? So one is you have any research, there's no AI in the research, but can we use AI to enhance and empower these researchers? Other end is every research, like a research where AI is improved. The research itself is to make AI better, right? So something in between is what we now call AI in multidisciplinary research, which is things where we want to do research and can we integrate AI in making the research problem or making the solution to the research problem easier, right? For example, can I apply some AI techniques in research in a field like healthcare or medicine, right? Or music, one of these fields. Like I said, those video that we played had examples like that where AI is into that particular field, right? So the spectrum of this discussion is much larger, but we'll move towards we will incline more towards uh, general ideas like can AI be used for any research method, the steps we follow in those research, and also can I integrate, can I learn a bit of AI and can I use it in my research method? Can I apply an AI technique into my research so that my research outcome become better, right? So not just the research method itself, but what I do is can I integrate it? Like can I use AI to make music, right? So my research is in music. I want to make better music, but can I integrate AI into it? So that is somewhere like in the middle, not the far end where it's everything doing AI as a research topic and make AI better. Right? So we will not go there too much. We'll be somewhere in the middle and try to cover audience and students of any research type. Right. So you can be a researcher in allied health sciences, or you can be a researcher in social sciences. You can be a researcher in computer science. You can be a researcher of any type, and we believe that you can get the benefit out of this series of sessions. That is the idea behind this session, and why we are and how we are starting this. So for today, like I mentioned earlier, we are going to skim through or go through a quick run of the things that we can do with how I can enhance my research work using AI. So I'll do a very quick intro on what AI is, and then I'll talk about how AI can be used in research, the research method, and when I do it, what are the challenges we'll encounter, and challenges, knowing them is better so that we can do better or we can find solutions better for those challenges we'll face when we use AI into my research process. Next, we'll also, after challenges, obviously, we can't just leave you there. We'll be discussing what can we do. If there are challenges, how do we overcome them? So that's what I will discuss under consideration, and then I'll conclude. And I hope I can give you some time to ask questions and also share your requirements where you will know where you want to which part of this spectrum of AI in research you would like to learn, and so. So that's the plan for this evening. So quickly, to give you a very fast intro to what we are talking about. Artificial intelligence is a field which is now mostly known as machine learning. Artificial intelligence, the idea is, can we build intelligence artificially, right? Or can machines be intelligent? So when I say artificially, we are talking about things that we build, which are machines. Can machines have intelligence? These days, the machine intelligence has become more of machine learning, where we build machines to learn. From where do they learn? They learn from data or things that they observe from outside, one way or the other. Right. So the way how they learn have become more and more complicated, more and more detailed, more and more thorough, and that's where we talk about deep learning. And these days, we are also talking about the last few years, things like generative AI, generative artificial intelligence has become popular, which is a subtopic of all this, as you see in the in the picture there. At the same time, because we are also talking about data, machine learning comes, the input to the machine learning, or the from where the machine learns is from data. And therefore, managing data, curating data, analyzing what's in the data, and so on are also other disciplines that started, things like data science. And there are overlapping concepts between these two ideas. And that's just a big idea and like what's all out there. And we are going to mostly focus today on generative AI and how it can be used for research in general, not specifically for a specific field. So just to give you a little more idea on the same topic, but with some examples, right? So if you take something like AI, like I said, machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, but if I take a field like finance, where how these different sub-discipline can be used in the field, just an example, so that it's more easier, tangible for you to understand, right? So if you have a generic AI model, which is not machine learning, you can use it for figuring out things like cash flow. We are talking about finance, right? So, or forecasting cash flow. But if you have machine learning, then you should also be able to do more than just forecasting, but also go into more deeper, more detailed analysis, things like fraud detection. Fraud happens, like when fraud happens in finance, you should look at a lot of data, learn from those data and figure things out and analyze and so on. Deep learning will go one step further. It can be used for more detailed analysis. So things like, so here the example I have given is loan sanctioning, meaning deciding whether we can give loan to a loan applicant, right? So it normally involves an expert who can, based on his experience, decides whether this person who is applying for loan, will he or she repay, and will he or she pay the interest and whatnot, right? But then that's like deep learning can be used for applications like that. This is just to give an example, an idea, right? So not everything conclusive. And the next one is generative AI, is where I can use it for doing make new things up. Here, content generation for credit card rewards, agent conversations in a financial system. So it goes into a different level where we can engage and converse and so on. So that's just to give you some more detailed understanding of what it is. I'm sure you know what generative AI is and where it is used. Here is an example. It can be used it's being used in a lot of different places. Text generation, different type of things generation, images, videos, and whatnot, right? So even programs. Now, every platform that you can think, every generative AI platform you can think of has now integrated code generation, where you can build applications. At least non so complex applications can be built by using generative AI systems. How did it do it? It learns from the application that are already out there, the code that's already out there, and it learns. And when you might ask when you give a new task, it builds based on what it has already learned. That's the idea. So AI is not something very new. It's a bit old in the field of, say, something like technology. If you say, the very first idea of artificial intelligence, or whether machine can have intelligence, was officially recorded in a 1950 paper by Alan Turing. So what Alan Turing has written in that paper is later has become Turing test. It basically says, or it basically defines how we can identify whether a machine has got intelligence, whether a machine is intelligent. How do we figure it out? There's a test. The test is very simple. I'll not go into detail right now, but that is 1950. So now 75 plus 76 years later, we are talking about machines actually that can pass this Turing test. So in fact, in 2024, some researchers have shown, experimentally or empirically shown, it's possible now for machine to pass the Turing test that was designed in 1950, thinking whether the machines, thinking that this will be the test to see whether the machines are intelligent. However, we are, as researchers and users of AI, are still in an argument whether these machines are really intelligent. We'll discuss more later, but we'll realize that they are not really as intelligent as we could think. Yes, they can pass the Turing test. That's all they are, not anything more. Right, so we'll discuss about those also as we go, and the challenges and why do we have to be more careful. So generative AI is what we are discussing, but it all became so popular with, and also this the last cycle of AI boom is, it all started with machine learning, deep learning, and particularly in the late 2010, which is like 2016, 2015, 16, 17, where AI systems a lot of AI systems were built. One is a machine learning model built to learn and become a champion of a board game. In fact, the system that was built became a champions of several board games, but the most complicated one, more complex one, known as the Go game. It's a Chinese board game with a lot of possibilities for playing or moving, and the game. So this machine, in fact, it learned the game in a very short amount of time by looking at the previous gameplays, and it can play, and it played and won the Go champion then. Right, so and also the same game, the same system or the same machine learning model can also learn, or was shown that it can learn things like the chess game and become the best in the world, better than the best human player in the world, in a few hours time. Right, so it can learn a game in like a board game like chess in few hours. Board game like Go, it took more. It took maybe a day. I can't remember the exact time, but it's a little longer. Right, so that's how these systems have become, and it's not just about games. Right, so now you can see the video I played. It's a lot more than game. It can do a lot more things. In fact, something that made people to look at it more seriously happened in science. In fact, like in 2024, both chemistry and physics Nobel Prizes, as you know how prestigious they are, were given to people who build AI systems or got AI system involved in their chemistry physics work. Right, so here is the chemistry prize was given to a tool called AlphaFold, the same company who built AlphaGo. And why it was given to AlphaFold is because the AlphaFold tool was able to do protein folding, a problem that was long-standing since the beginning of things like microbiology, and we were able to what do you call sequence proteins. We were able to identify a large amount of protein sequences, millions, and then to fold, meaning finding the three-dimensional structure of these proteins. We know the sequence, but to find the structure, that is what the folding problem is in simple terms. To make the structure, it took a lot of time. They say it takes about a PhD student time just to make one or to figure out the protein, the structure of a single protein. So if you have a million proteins, you can imagine how long it takes. And then this company, with the help of, in fact, like this company was later acquired by Google, and the company, with the support of Google and their funding infrastructure, were able to fold all proteins that is known, all protein sequences that were known at that time within a year. Right, so they were able to hold everything, and they gave it as open source. They gave it to everybody. Any researcher can use it, which means it can be used for a lot of different other discoveries, medicine, precision medicine, and so on. So it can be used, identifying different diseases and so on. So it's a very useful tool that was built, which started from a game, like I said, AlphaGo, and the same company is working on now tools like Alpha Earth, where they are integrating AI, things like the Google Map, into other tools, into other input about the Earth. And can we put all this together to come up with a better understanding of what's going on in Earth, and can they give a better experience to the users who are looking at it and traveling and whatnot? Right, so that's the type of things that are happening, and why these sort of systems and tools have become so popular and useful. I'll skip that. I have been talking, so therefore I'll just take a quick stop and play another video, again on an AI tool or a system.
Isn't life about what we experience, what we smell,
Can I eat this?
Yes, dragon fruits are low in sugar.
what we hear,
Hey, what should I get here?
我在这里该点什么呢？
what we see,
Oh. Capture this.
and what we feel? What if we build more memories,
What are some fun things to do nearby?
share more moments,
Can we play songs from the last time we were here?
What would happen if we rediscover our senses? What if devices weren't the experience?
Catch me up.
Lucy called and your flight is at 7 a.m.
Tell Lucy I'm on my way.
What if life was?
AIFS.
So that's about a small device, a wearable, as you can see on the screen, known as AIP, and it was built and sold to the market. A bit expensive, but an interesting tool. And think about the type of things that are integrated into this tool to make it to do what it's doing. Right? So the tool, it's just a device, right? So it's supposed to be an alternative to a mobile phone. So you don't have to wear carry around a mobile phone, but you can just wear this device and walk around. You can talk to it. It can talk back. It is connected to generative AI. In fact, it is connected to ChatGPT's OpenAI interface, and therefore it can understand or translate what you're talking into machine and then give responses the same way how ChatGPT does. At the same time, it can also do things like translation, as you saw in the video. So, and also it can project things, it can hear, it can record, it all sort of different things, right? So it's a simple device, but with a very smart engine connected to it in the name of a large language model, OpenAI's large language model in this case. So you can think of several such examples and innovation in research where a tool or a system like large language model, like the one that is out there for ChatGPT, the OpenAI model, GPTs, sits there, and what it can do and how it can integrate it into tools like this, and we can imagine several of them, right? So every other field can imagine things in so this is like just consumer electronics, but every other field. So those two. So with that, I'm skipping a few slides, and let's move on to the research process itself. That's the focus of today's discussion mostly, and how AI, or particularly here we are talking about generative AI, how generative AI can be used in research. I'm sure, like based on the responses we got for the survey, I'm sure that all of you are, we know that all of you are using AI in your day-to-day work, generative AI specifically. But when it comes to research, are there anything different? Can we do anything better? Or do we have to use the generic tools? Right, so that's the discussion, and we are going to quickly show or run through a number of different tools that can be used for different stages of the research. Right, so to start with, let me take this diagram. I picked it up from Cornell, and it's about research life cycle. If you take research at a very macro, a very high level, everything in research, you can put this into 4 quadrants. 1A is research conception and execution. So that's like you come up with research ideas and execute it. It's a lot in it, right? So most of what an undergraduate research, and almost all of what a postgraduate research, what we normally call research here, would happen in quadrant 1. Right, so research conception, coming up with ideas. When I say coming up with ideas, it's not just only brainstorming and deciding this is what I want to do, but figuring out what's out there, figuring out the gaps in the research, figuring out what are the different ways to do it, and figuring out how long it will take to do it, and then start doing it. When you are doing it, then there are a number of steps when you are doing research, right? So starting from figuring out a method, figuring out experiments, figuring out if the data involved, so we have to figure out, we have to collect data, or whether we can get data from somewhere and do the research, with those, and collect data and do analysis. And then when you have the research, sort of the experiments done, then you'll also have to look at the results, you have to analyze them and figure out what it is, and come up with some conclusions. All this is just quadrant A, right? And then you have all this, when you do all this research, if you are having some interesting findings, then you will go to B. So the interesting finding, you will be you'll have to disseminate them either by presenting or making a video about it, talk about it, write about it, and so on, right? So that's the dissemination part. And then from there, from this research dissemination, we go to when that phase is sort of done, people will know, okay, we have done research, we have done peer-reviewed publication, which means others have looked at what you have done, and they have agreed, okay, what you have done is something that is useful. Then you can go into the next phases where you bring the research finding or the results to general, like for public, for consumer, for use, right? So that's where the research translation happens. And the research translation is where you do like make it a business, make it like an intellectual property and whatnot. Right? And from there you'll have to earn funding, and the funding can again be used. So where the funding goes, and then the funding can be used stage 4 or quadrant 4 or D, and then the funding can be used to infuse more research ideas more, and it can go in a cycle like this. Right, so by that is what we have been doing, and that's how research get improved, and we like the work get improved, and we come up with new things. And that's exactly how things like generative AI is now in place, and it's helping do this process as well, right? So in this process there are so many steps, a lot of different processes, sub processes, all these are involved. So the idea of this discussion is to see, can we use generative AI tools or generative AI techniques in completing this faster, better, or can we use these tools to empower our our execution of these steps. That's the idea. So before I go into the details of the idea, I'm just going to show you this graph. It was, in fact, published in a journal, a research journal, known as PLOS ONE. And the journal who published it is, by the way, is OpenAI. So OpenAI researchers published this finding. So they have done a study with ChatGPT users. So they have done, like, as you can see, actually students, right? So like all of you, right? So they have done a study with about 23,000 ChatGPT users from 109 countries. What they have done is they have asked the ChatGPT users, where are you using? Or we have analyzed the users to see where they are using generate the ChatGPT tool. The 223,000 users, where do they use ChatGPT tool? And then they have asked questions like how their perception on how much faster they can do their work, right? So by using these tools. So both numbers, one, the percentage of users who has said this is where I use this tool. And like, for example, the top one, as you can see, is students are saying we use ChatGPT for brainstorming. And then there are equally similar number of users are saying, same amount of users are saying, or ChatGPT users are saying we are using it for summarizing and research assistant and what. So it's about 1/3 of the users are saying, or students are saying, we use it for brainstorming, summarizing, and so on. And at the same time, by the way, this is like the top two people. Like, say, if you take a user, we ask what are the base, and they say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. They are taken only the first two. And then the next number, the X number, is how fast they think they can do this work by using those tools. How much acceleration they got, right? So they are talking about acceleration about 2.75. So it's about 3% max, right? So the acceleration, how fast you can do research for any one of these tasks when you use generative AI tools. In this particular example, ChatGPT is just 3 times max, 2.76 times. And the lower end is about 2 times, so 1.92. So remember, using one of these tools, the fastest, how fast you can do a task. Let's say you are writing a thesis, or you are writing a paper, you are writing a report. Let's say you are writing a 5-page report. Usually, to write a 5-page report, if you know everything, if you have everything noted down and you want to write it down, it might take half a day, a 5-page report, right? Half a day, 3 hours, 4 hours, right? Now, what this finding says is that if you're going to do it using these tools like ChatGPT, it would take 3 times less, right? So it will be 3 times faster, meaning a 3-hour task can be done in 1 hour, not in few seconds or milliseconds. Remember that, right? So the same report, we can't write it in like a minute or two, right? So because the whole idea is you can use these tools to do things faster, but at the same time, we also had to get involved. We had to put our input. We also had to verify, check, and so on. So this results from that research paper published by OpenAI in PLOS ONE journal indicate that clearly. I suggest those who are interested to go read this paper. Right, so that's just before we go into all these tools and look at all the different quadrant. And in fact, like, we are going to only focus on the first and second. We'll not do much on 3 and 4. Most of the time we'll spend on A, because obviously A is what, like I said, most of the undergraduate researchers would do. And also, obviously, they'll also write present, publish towards the end. But most of the time they'll spend on doing and conceptualizing and executing the research work. So I'm going to list down a few different steps that are involved in this the quadrant A, and then I will discuss what sort of tools we can use for those, and also I'll show some examples. Right, I'll go into some examples or show some videos, recorded videos, and so on. Right. So when you want to like conceptualize plan, one of the things that you would do in any research is literature review. So literature review is a detailed analysis, and in fact we will have later specific sessions on how we can use AI to do a thorough literature review. Such session, like Kapila was mentioning earlier, will involve understanding the process of literature review, understanding the process of how AI can be used, and how you can put these two together to get a better outcome, at least 3 times faster process, and with clear guidelines, steps, and so on. That's sort of a detailed presentation, like a detailed session we'll have later. So today's focus is to show all different type of things that we can do. So therefore, I'm going to go fast. So literature review, there are a number of tools that supports literature review. Some example tools are tools like connected papers, elicit cite, and so on. I'll show a little more little later. But these tools can be used within the literature review to do things like organize, summarize, and quickly get directionally oriented. Like, so we get to focus on a specific research and so on. We also can find connections between research papers, the connected papers, and research rabbits and tools like that. Right. So, and also we can use in planning, we can also do ideation, coming up with hypotheses, and the brainstorming part of that can be done by using generic tools like this, as long as you have the data from your literature survey. So you're doing literature survey, finding some data, and you take that data and give it to a generic tool like ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, and whatnot. You can or Claude, and you can then do the next step. Looks like give me a second. Yeah. Right. So one such tools, like I mentioned, is connected papers. It can be used for finding papers that are connected to each other. Instead of me talking about it, let me play a video which actually compares 2 different research tools, Research Rabbit and connected papers, Research Rabbit being completely free, and both of them have some complementary features and also some overlapping features. So let me just play this video.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And for today, we are going to compare Research Rabbit and Connected Papers, 2 prominent tools in the realm of literature exploration and academic research. Both platforms aim to simplify the process of navigating through research papers and identifying relevant literature. Let's start with Research Rabbit. Research Rabbit is a cutting-edge AI-powered research tool that is poised to revolutionize the way academics and researchers conduct literature reviews and explore academic papers. By bridging various research databases and offering advanced research capabilities, Research Rabbit aims to streamline the research process, save time, and enhance the efficiency of discovering and organizing scholarly content. To use Research Rabbit, first you need to create an account. Visit the Research Rabbit website and locate the sign up or registration option. Fill in the required information such as your name, email address, and password to create your account. Verify your email address to activate your account and gain access to Research Rabbit's features. Add papers. Click on the option to add papers within the Research Rabbit platform. Select a reference paper that aligns with your research topic or interests. Explore related papers by clicking on author names in the interactive graph feature and add them to your collection for further review. Utilize graph features. The interactive visualizations in Research Rabbit allow you to visually explore connections between authors and their works. Clicking on author names within the graph enables you to quickly add relevant papers to your collection, facilitating a more efficient research process. Organize your collection. Create multiple collections within Research Rabbit to categorize papers based on different themes, topics, or sections of your research. Organizing your collection helps you maintain a structured approach to managing and reviewing academic papers effectively. Save time and stay organized. By centralizing all added papers in one location within ResearchRabbit, you can save time typically spent researching through multiple sources or tabs. Having all your research materials saved and accessible in one place ensures better organization and efficiency in your research workflow. Now, let's talk about connected papers. Connected Papers is a versatile tool that offers researchers a comprehensive overview of research fields, ensuring they do not miss key papers, providing insights into the dynamics between different areas of study, and facilitating exploration of prior and derivative work. Suitable for academia and applied science, this tool helps researchers and applied scientists efficiently explore relevant academic papers. By entering a paper or interest into the search bar, users can generate a visual graph of related papers, analyze connections between papers, view details in citations, and identify key works in their research field. This capability, combined with its ability to handle large volumes of newspapers, enables users to stay up to date with the latest publications, making Connected Papers a valuable resource for research and development workflows. In conclusion, both ResearchRabbit and Connected Papers offer valuable tools for researchers seeking to streamline their literature review process and discover relevant academic papers efficiently. While ResearchRabbit focuses on personalized recommendations and comprehensive search capabilities, Connected Papers excels in visualizing research connections and relationships. Researchers can benefit from utilizing both platforms to enhance their literature exploration and stay informed in their respective fields. I hope this video is helpful for you guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.
So those are just two tools. Like I said, both of them have some common ones and overlapping ideas, how the research papers are connected. But at the same time, one, you can upload papers, you can keep your own repo of papers and so on. The other one is not. And the way how you visualize, there are differences. So I hope you understood the differences and you can consider the use of these tools. So these are specific tools, right? So they are just designed for doing research. And these tools are specifically designed for, like you said, the one we were showing earlier, more towards the literature review, right? So figuring out what these papers are, putting them together, identifying and so on. So that's more, again, to do specific work. And these are not generic tools, right? So they're specifically designed for such work. So there's such one other such tool is called Elicit. I have just put a screenshot of the Elicit tool. By the way, these tools are all coming through browser. So you can just find, go to a browser, find the URL of the tool, and then you can access it. So here is Elicit. What it can do when you go to the website, you in fact can give a research question, or you can ask a research question. So same applies to tools like Connected Papers and ResearchRabbit as well, where you don't have to give a detailed prompt that you normally do in a generic OpenAI type platform or a ChatGPT like generative AI tool, a generic one where you have to give a detailed prompt. So these are specifically built tools, and a research question itself is enough for you to do the rest. Like here, you just can give a research or a question. So the research question I'm giving is role of Gen AI in education. It's list down paper. It gives a summary of a few research papers, and also it lists down those papers with details, like you can download them, you can add more like things like summary of the abstract, the references, you can even add like the what is in the method and so on. You can add them and include them into like a tabular form where you can go through the research paper. At the same time, you also can get a summary and references. There are more such tools. Here's another one. So all of these are very simple because they just the interface, the human interface, or the research interface to these tools are specifically designed for research, not a generic tool where you have to ask specific, like a proper prompt, right? So these are not so. So typeset.io is one where you can upload a research paper and ask questions or ask things around the paper. Things like you can ask questions like explain the text. You can ask it to summarize the paper you uploaded. You can ask it to find other related papers. You can also converse with the ask questions basically on the PDF you uploaded, PDF being the research paper. You also can ask it to do tables. When you upload more and more papers, you can add those papers and ask it to do what is known as like a tabular form summary. So you can see the research papers you uploaded as PDFs and other items. You can see there are a lot of things you can do. You can ask for to include conclusions of those papers in the table, include results of those papers in the table, limitations of those papers in the limitations that are listed in the paper into the table and so on. So you can see it's very much built around research, just to do research. So there's more. You also can ask it to paraphrase and whatnot. There are more features. So, but at the same time, these tools are the tools that we discussed up to now are specifically designed for research and also designed for those who are not comfortable writing proper research, like a proper prompts for a generic chatbot like ChatGPT, right? So at the same time, platforms like ChatGPT also has features where you can do research using those tools, like ChatGPT example. So I have taken ChatGPT as an example here. If you take ChatGPT, let me, if I can just quickly, okay, I'll just skip that for now. So here is, if you go to ChatGPT, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with ChatGPT, if you go to the ChatGPT's Explorer or Explore, you will find a place, you will find a list of tools or sub-tools under ChatGPT. So those sub-tools are basically the tools, works exactly like ChatGPT, but they are limited to a subset of data. They are not all the research, all the data that's out there. ChatGPT has access to all the data in the internet. But here, the research tools that are within ChatGPT, for example, one such example is Scholar GPT. Is a tool where when you use it within ChatGPT, you go to Explore, find Scholar GPT, and use it. You chat with it the same way how you chat with ChatGPT, but it will only be giving you answers from the research resources of 200 million plus research articles. So it's only going to answer based on the content of those 200 million articles. It will not give answers from other non-research uh, websites or any other data that like a chat GPT has has scraped and found. So it's not going to go through all of them. It's only going to answer based on a small amount or a subset of data, which is more actually research, completely research oriented. That way, the platforms like this can give specific, correct answers to the queries you put in tools like ChatGPT. So not only in doing the literature review itself, but going beyond, even if you want to do things like figuring out the research questions, there is a number of steps you'll have to follow in how you find a research gap and a research question. Right? So starting from the literature review, going through a process. We'll not go into the details of the process now. Like I told you, this is a detailed process and we'll do it as a separate complete session. But for now, just to give you an idea, how there again we can use tools and we can combine multiple tools together to do the starting from like things like brainstorming, doing something like a literature survey and using literature survey results to again go back and look at the gaps, And the literature survey includes a lot of details like finding a lot of papers, connected papers, and research rabbit-like platforms. So the complete cycle of formulating research questions, which include literature survey and whatnot, can be done step by step using the support of these tools. That's the idea. So these tools are, most of them are specifically designed for such work, and therefore they give specific results and correct and curated results, not generic results. But at the same time, if you want to use tools like generative AI chatbots like ChatGPT, you also have to learn how to do prompting properly. Again, we can go into the details of prompting, how it works, specifically in research, how we can write, or what are the best way to write prompts, and also things like if you have a ChatGPT account, ChatGPT account now has several different models. So they are default, the GPT model 5.2, for instance. Then they have the Pro model. They also have things like the model where you had to do the deep research model. So these different models, what they mean, which model we had to use for which work, and how we prompt the different models. These are all discussions and details that you had to know if you want to use the best out of even a generic tools like ChatGPT. So those are things we will learn in more detail, but those are matters you have to consider in terms of prompts. Right, so let me just quickly show one more tool, a video of the tool called Site, and how it can be used in combination with ChatGPT or MyGPTs to do some.
In this demonstration, I will walk you through how you can use AI tools to design and refine a research question. So the first tool I'm going to demonstrate is Site.ai. You can use this tool by going to the URL as displayed here. So this Site tool is an AI-powered academic tool that helps you to search for literature, analyze citations, and track research relevant to your interest. So for demonstration purposes, I will input this particular prompt, which asks for a summary of research papers on generative AI usage in higher education in a global setting. So once I click the search button, it will generate a summary of most recent and relevant research out there, including references. It also shows the search strategy used to generate this summary. You can also edit this search by changing the keywords used for the search. And also for each of these references out there, it shows the number of publications citing a particular work, the section from which reference is taken from, and whether how many of the statements in this particular summary is supporting the statements in this citation, and number of citations that are just mentioned in this particular paper. So if you just click one of these links, you can get a more detailed description about the citations, references, and things like that. So using this tool, you can start a literature survey and get an idea about the scope of the literature out there for your particular domain. Now that we have a clear picture of the existing literature, we can now move on to framing our own research direction. So to get that assistance with this task, I will be using a customized GPT provided by the application ChatGPT. You can access these customized GPTs using the URL shown here. So these customized GPTs are specialized versions of ChatGPT that are fine-tuned for different tasks, such as writing, productivity, research and analysis, and so on. For this particular task, I will use a custom GPT connected to the AI-powered research tool called Consensus to generate a focused research question, suggest a proper title, and help us with drafting survey questions, all tailored to the topic that we have been exploring through Site. So to give a good idea about Consensus. It is an AI-powered search engine built specifically for academic research. So instead of just listing out a list of papers for a particular topic, it will extract and summarize evidence-based answers from peer-reviewed studies for a prompt that we give. So to start the chat connected to Consensus, you just simply have to click the button Start Chat, and it will direct you to a GPT powered by Consensus. So to start a chat, I will input a prompt. Once you insert the prompt, you will be prompted with allowing access to Consensus. And once connected to Consensus, it will give its answer with evidence backed by peer-reviewed articles. So you can simply click one of these articles and it will direct you to the Consensus app where this article is displayed. And similarly, you can come up with follow-up questions and ask for suitable titles for the research paper. So any of the answers given by this customized GPT are backed by evidence-based research that is already out there.
Right, so that's another example of how we can integrate the two tools and get something out of it. And also, like I was telling you earlier, the GPTs, how to access one of those in this example using Consensus. Let's move on. Not just for doing simple things like literature survey or finding the gap. You also can use these AI tools for more. Here's another example where you can use it for analysis, like next steps of the research, the execution part of the research. So here I'm just showing one example where we can use code generation. So here I'm not talking about like pure code, but specifically the LaTeX or of a particular situation. So here LaTeX, as you know, is used for writing, or it's a markup language for typesetting, writing proper things like equations better and so on. So it can be done. Earlier days, we'll have to learn LaTeX, or we'll have to use a tool that has such features where we can insert an equation, type equations, and then it generates the code. The good part about tools like LaTeX is it produces print friendly and more graphics friendly text and equations and so on, right? So compared to proprietary tools like Microsoft Word and Google Docs and whatnot, right? So earlier we would have to write all that. So things like if I want to make, if I want to make equations like this, I had to write this code or the markup. Now we don't have to do it. We just can write the equation on a paper like this and give a photo of it to ChatGPT, and it can generate this straight away, and I can copy paste it into an editor or a markup language compiler, and it compiles it into markup language like the image or the whatever the format that is required. So that's so straightforward now, making this life easier. Not just there, but even other places, like if you want to use any tool, particularly in our situation, tools that are used in research. In engineering type research, we use tools like MATLAB, is a matrix laboratory tool, a tool where matrix manipulations are done. You can imagine a lot of different research work where matrix are used. In all such places, we use a tool like MATLAB from a company called MathWorks to do work. All this time, we'll have to write the MATLAB code for doing any work using MATLAB type tools. Same applies for statistics, tools that are used in statistics or statistical analysis. All those tools will have to write code, or we'll have to go through steps, we'll have to follow menu bars, sub items, and whatnot to do something done. Not anymore. So now there are all of these tools have a chatbot, and you can just talk to it. So the MATLAB chatbot is known as the AI chat playground, where you can just in text ask questions and it gives answers, and you can just proceed and use the code that is generated to do anything you want. Like in this video, you can see, or the animation, you can see even things like generating what do you call graphs, with different type of graphs, and all that are done just by asking questions and then going through the responses and the code that the AI chatbot has generated. The chatbot is integrated into the tool. Such chatbots are integrated to many tools now. What else can you do? You can do more with in terms of analysis. We are talking about data and can we use it to do further analysis. In fact, lot of research has data collection or data generated, and we'll have to use the data to go to the next step. So what do we do with the data? We can use we had to clean it. We'll have to curate the data, right? So cleaning, do some statistical analysis or descriptive statistics. We'll have to do predictive modeling. We'll have to do correlation type of things. We'll have to do even simple things like visualization. We'll have to do all this. We'll have to do. Earlier, we would be using some statistical tool to do this. Or we'll be using multiple tools, or we'll be using a programming language like programming language with some libraries to do this, where you'll have to learn any one of these tools or the programming language plus the tools and or the libraries. Not anymore. Now we can use all these the data analysis type tools which can do data-driven insights, which can give data-driven insights, now has generative AI connected to it, meaning you can just talk to it. So the good part about generative AI, as you might imagine, is the natural language processing engine that it has, right? So where we can just talk to it and get response in plain English or other languages for that matter, right? So here is a list of such tools that can be used for finding insights, data analytics type things, and I'm going to just show a couple of them. Sorry. One is a tool known as Power Drill. I had a long list, like I said. So Power Drill is one of them. What I can do with Power Drill is I just can upload data and basically ask questions. The questions can be generic questions, or questions can be specifically about certain things, trend forecasting. The questions can be specifically about cleaning the data. It can be use the data to generate a presentation. It can be generating a report based on the data, and all this can be done specific questions, or it can be generic questions about a specific thing. Like for example, here is a question about how do we convert a particular column into another, and so on, right? So this sort of different questions can be asked, and all this analysis can be done by tools like Power Drill. Let me quickly play a small video on Power Drill and how it works so that you understand how things like data analysis can be done using these tools.
Consider that you have conducted a survey and you want to analyze the results of it. One of the most powerful AI tools out there to conduct this is Power Drill AI. Power Drill is an AI-powered data analysis tool which allows you to explore datasets, generate insights, and even get explanations and code for how the analysis is done, all in plain English. It's like having a data analyst and a Python coder rolled into one. To use this AI tool, first you have to visit the website Power Drill AI as shown in the URL here. And once you are there, you can simply upload your Excel file containing the survey results. This can be done by simply dragging and dropping the file into the Power Drill interface, or using this upload button with the name add file, and choose a file from your computer. Once uploaded, Power Drill will automatically show a short summary of the dataset. As you can see here, it shows a very accurate summary of the dataset, and also it gives some suggestions on useful questions you can ask based on the dataset. It also shows an option to generate a full report, which includes automated insights, visualizations, and key takeaways from the data. So if I click this Generate Report button, it will generate a fully fledged report containing details of the dataset and conducting analysis, generating different charts on the distribution. So you can download this report as a Word file, Markdown, or a PDF as well. Or else you can convert it to a presentation as well. Power Drill can handle basic operations that you would typically do in an Excel sheet, like finding averages, counts, and filtering data. For example, if I input the prompt, what is the average level of generative AI familiarity among participants, it will conduct the analysis. As you can see, it gives the thought process it goes through to generate the result, including the Python code if it is using one, and the results are shown in a CSV file as well. So it gives the average familiarity as 3.01. Let's check if it is the correct one. This is the survey Excel sheet, and if I go to the column familiarity and calculate the average of it using Excel, it also gives the same result. But it can do more than that as well. It can analyze trends, compare groups, and even identify correlations, all with clear explanations, which is great for learning as well as validation. So if I input a prompt as this, correlation between years of work experience and the familiarity of generative AI, it will go through the dataset and gives us the thought process behind the analysis and gives us the conclusions as well. And if I give a prompt like write a qualitative analysis of the responses in terms of the usage of generative AI tools, and I will ask it to provide insights on how different individuals have used generative AI, whether they have any barriers, and whether there are any correlation of familiarity of work with work experience, it will give a well-versed output with a breakdown of AI use cases it has found out, and barriers for adaptation, and correlation between experience and familiarity. So it gives the results in CSV file as well, which you can use preview in the app itself. So whether you are just exploring data or need quick insights with solid explanations, Power Drill is a powerful tool to help you understand your survey results more effectively.
So that's an example of how we can do some analysis using a generative AI tool where you just have to chat with it, upload the data and chat and get the work done. So there are similar other tools. One such other tool which is also very popular is called Julius, which has much better nice graphs. And but it can do similar things as I was explaining earlier, generating graphs, finding insight, doing analysis, and so on. Right, so I'm not going to go into detail, but it can be useful. I'll skip some of these tools and let's move on to the next step, which is, so I've been talking about a few glimpses of the generative AI tools that are designed actually specifically for research, not the generic tools, right? So these tools, and there are a lot more. You can go find many more tools specifically for some research work that you are going to do. There are more and more coming. Some of them are more reliable than others, but there are many. And you'll have to explore and find what's the best tool. Right? So before we go further, the next topic is the challenges. So to talk about, or just before we go look at the challenges, let's play a small video of another AI device.
This is what I want.
This is what I need.
Louie. Meet Louie, the device that brings your smartphone to life, elevating your desktop experience to a whole new level. Louie. Making full use of your smartphone's hardware and our built-in sensors, Louie can fully sense his surroundings. Sometimes he's a bit mischievous, but he knows where the boundaries are. If he oversteps, let him know.
Hey, Louie, take a break.
Besides interacting with you, Louie also enjoys some occasional alone time. You can try grabbing Louie's attention, but don't provoke him, or he will fight back. You can ask Louie to tell you a joke. The ChatGPT generated jokes never repeat. Or just relax and enjoy time with your new gaming buddy. With Louie, you'll discover countless precious moments you might have missed in the past. He'll automatically select the best angle and capture the memory. Plus, he's very responsive to hand gestures. Louie transforms into a wireless charger for your phone when you're concentrating on other stuffs. It keeps reminding you of important information. Sometimes Louie can get a little scared. Comfort him with a gentle touch to make him feel safe and secure. With Louie, remote interaction with your loved ones is now possible. You can remote control Louie and explore the world from his perspective. And even send animations with hand gestures. All your precious ephemeral moments are now kept by him. Every interaction makes Louie more attuned to you. Ultimately, each Louie becomes unique to you.
Hey, Louie, I guess we'll be stuck here for a bit longer.
With our advanced biomimetic behavior engine and ChatGPT integration, Louie promises endless, delightful interactions that keep you engaged. He's a whimsical little desktop robot, remote avatar, gaming companion, wireless charger, and more. Your phone has always had a soul. It's now time to give it a body. Say hello to Louie.
So I particularly wanted to play this video to show that how integrated these tools are becoming, and therefore even in research, right? So we have looked at all these different tools and the good that they can do. But are they only good? Obviously not. And they bring their own challenges as well, right? So with any tool, it's the case. So here we are talking about AI tools which are not perfect. They have their limitations, starting from things like they don't have logical reasoning. Here is I have put an example of why they are not logical. They don't have logical reasoning. And in the interest of time, I'll not go into detail, but I'll tell you another example, which is I should have put that here, but another example which I recently saw somewhere in YouTube Reel or someplace, I can't remember where, or the short videos, right? So the user is showing a cup, just a cup, and the cup is shown upside down, and it's shown to a tool like ChatGPT through a camera, and asked, see, this cup is up like this. I bought this cup, and this cup has an opening at the bottom, and it's closed at the top. What can I do about it? Guess what ChatGPT or Cloud or Gemini is saying, right? So they say, there's something wrong with the cup, right? So that's all that they can think. If it is given to even a kid, they'll know that it's just a cup but upside down, right? So they don't have logical reasoning. That's the basic idea in general. They are getting fixed, but they still have problems. And obviously they have other issues like they can have information that are wrong because the information is coming from all sort of places and also coming from adversaries, people who want to deceive others, right? So they can be wrong. And the data that is out there can, like, these models were trained, could be outdated because these models are not trained every day. They are trained very few times a year because this training, cost a lot of money. OpenAI claims for a single proper full training, they had to spend about $150 million, right? So that's a lot of money. And therefore, we don't train every other day, which means the data that these machine learning, these large language models were trained on are a bit outdated. So you won't get things on like latest information. At the same time, because the data, there is a data bias, data could be of different, so data is not equally representing the population or the culture and whatnot because of the inequalities. And therefore, that could also add bias to the models. So these models might understand certain cultures better with certain rich affluent cultures better than certain even though larger not so affluent cultures because of the outdated the biasness that it has. More problems are things like data privacy. If you're going to talk about using these tools for doing research, what about the intellectual property, the privacy of data and things like that? If you use free tools, you are going to give or you're going to pay to these tools by your data, but because these tools are going to take your data for its training, right? So those are more problems. And what do we do about it, right? So I'm going to go through a few ideas that I have on what we can do about it. Obviously, the very first thing we can do about it is to learn how to use these tools properly, carefully. And that's the whole idea of a series of workshops like this. So the series of workshops like this is where you will learn, okay, these tools have problems, but I know where it has problems and where it is good. So I'll use it in places where it is good and I'll be careful in places where it is having problems. That's the whole idea of sessions like this. So here we are going to a series of workshops like this or webinars like this. And here I'm going to just discuss a few considerations starting from when to use these tools, right? So these tools we'll have to decide have a purpose when do you want to use it. I would in short say we will have to use these tools only when the tools are only when the user can do the work without the tool. Right, so we are talking about these tools, any tools, right? So be it Power Drill, be it Chat GPT, be it Research Rabbit and whatnot. All these tools, what they do, we as researchers should also be able to do. And then we can use these tools to do them faster, right? Same like how we use calculators, right? So when you use calculators, we know how to do arithmetic or what not that a calculator can do, even scientific calculator can do. We know what they are and what they mean, how we do it. And then we can use the tools to do them faster. Same idea, right? So that would be the simple, easier rule. But then in detail, we'll have to have a clear purpose. We'll have to have a lining, but like how we use generative AI to make our life better and impactful. And obviously, in every situation, we had to verify the output of these tools in before we use it. Even if I use a tool like that is specifically designed for research, it's my responsibility as a researcher to verify its outcome before you decide. And also know that these tools have options. Each one of these tools, like I said, ChatGPT, when you want to do research, you have options. You'll have to choose those options, not to use the generic tool. Even here, I took an example from another tool called Grammarly. It has its own options when you want to choose. So you'll have to use those options and be specific about what you want to do. And here are some examples of how you can how you can write your prompt clearly when you specifically want to do research with generative AI chatbots. Be specific, ask it to act as somebody like a researcher so that it can narrow down the scope of the work, do's and don'ts. We should say do this, don't do this, and so on. Give examples so that it knows what we are talking about. So it can give better example. Decide, tell it to be to consider a particular tone and consider who the audience are, whether it is an undergraduate student, whether it's a PhD student, whether it's a postdoctoral researcher. So those are things that we can ask the tool to consider and it generate things. So it can become, the output can become useful better. And when you want to consider these tools, particularly in terms of things like privacy and whatnot, so we'll have to be careful how to choose the right tool. So understand how these tools work. So in fact, this list was published by a research agency on how we can choose the right tool, right? So it has to be a tool that should have clear indication of how they use the data, how we can use it, how the tool works and whatnot. So those are things that you'll have to consider. And always make sure you are part of the process. We call it human in the loop or HILT. Human in the loop meaning when things are generated, make sure we check and validate everything before we put this out. Here are some examples of what has happened in the earlier in 2024. Mostly you can see these are papers that, in fact, these papers appeared in reputed journals where things like indication of ChatGPT use were there. Like you can see there are several things here. Right, so these were mistakes and we'll have to be careful, meaning like we'll have to basically check the output of these tools. I'll skip the discussion about plagiarism. And the next one is about safety, confidentiality or our privacy. Don't share sensitive information with these tools unless you get a paid tool and the agreement between the tool provider and you is clear, where they say we don't use your data for training their models, right? So you'll have to pay more and get such options. If not, don't share sensitive information. Give generic example. Don't give example from your research or your data, your samples. Don't give specific example that unless you have that validated, right? So the information is not shared. Anonymize information. Check the platform security. Read the terms and conditions. So these are things that you'll have to do. And most of the research journals now accept generative AI use. And when you are going to publish papers with generative AI use, make sure you look at journals, conferences, their guidelines. Or any publisher, their guidelines on author guideline. Nowadays, any publisher is coming up with author guideline for generative AI use. Look at it and follow it. So that because if you're going to publish or share your work with the publisher, you have to follow their guidelines. So generally, publishers are now accepting generative AI use in their guidelines. So in concluding remarks, there are a lot of, like I said, research steps involved, and each one of these, and there's a lot of writing involved in research, as you know, starting from proposal writing, literature review, which is included usually in the proposal, and more detailed one, and then writing articles, publishing papers, writing theses. A lot is done. But in many of these places, there are steps to follow, and these steps can now be enhanced by using generative AI tool. I call it responsibly. Using generative AI tools responsibly, not by just using generative AI tools. So make sure they are used responsibly. And I have highlighted a few things, but we will in the future sessions go into more details about each one of these items and learn how we can do better. And there are a lot of articles like this where they talk about how you can do research faster by using these tools, particularly in terms of research, in terms of writing, in terms of analysis, in terms of literature review, and so on. Now you can see these tools can help a lot. But obviously we had to be part of the process. We are the one who are giving the input. We are the one who are asking the questions. We are the one who are analyzing. We are the one who are verifying. All that is done by people, researchers. Right, so there are many such tools and discussions, and there are also platforms like ChatGPT has introduced deep research. Like I mentioned earlier, ChatGPT-like platforms has multiple models, and different models has different features. Deep search is one, and it has a specific feature. Deep search is in fact deep research is more onto research, and it gives evidence-based findings. But then there is also like GPT, if you take GPT 5.2 Pro and GPT 5.2 Basic and different models, and what these models are and how they can be used in research, which one is to use when. Some of them are expensive, some of them are cheaper, if you know. And those are all discussions and understanding you should have. I'm just talking about one tool, right? So there are many such tools. So therefore you can't learn and start using like all the tools out there, but you will have to figure out which tools are good for you and be master, understand how they work, and you can use them better. There's those who are interested in AI research, what's happening to AI itself. You can follow this curve. It's known as the AI2027.com, AI-2027.com. They talk about or an estimation of when AI will take like become better than people and so on. So yeah, there are ideas like AI can become better than human, individual human, the humankind and whatnot. Artificial, like what is known as the super intelligent, and various other different terms, superhuman and so on. So we can follow this to get some insights. That is what's happening in AI research and where we expect, or some researchers, a few popular researchers expect AI to go. But at the same time, as people, what do we do, right? So in addition to learning all that, in the age of AI, what else we had to do is, this is reported by the World Economic Forum, their Future of Jobs survey. They are talking about what sort of skills humans should have in the age of AI to navigate the space. In fact, like all what I discussed earlier about research are good for researchers, but in general, even including researchers, these are the skills that the World Economic Forum Future of Job Survey list down. Analytical thinking, resilience, flexibility, leadership, social influence, motivation, self-awareness, empathy, and whatnot. Right, so that's whole list. These are things that are out there. You should learn and understand. And like I said, there are different tools for different purpose. So you should figure out which one to use. I just have highlighted a few of them. I have highlighted things that are in the research realm right now. So what sort of tools that are out there, how they can be used to some extent. We didn't go into all the details, but that is where we are now. So let me finish and give you some time for questions and discussion and ideas. And I'll finish by listing down a few ideas that we discuss. Using AI tools for research is generally acceptable, but don't rely solely on AI-generated content. Always and rewrite, always or make document. Say, let's say you have got a document, and that document to you in secret or in confidential. Unless you have tool or the AI tool company telling you that they will not use your data. So these are things that you'll have to do. Always validate for accuracy. Remember that bias present in training data, and therefore it's reflected in the AI models and the output that it produces. Right. So with that, I'll conclude. So feel free to keep in touch with me. That's my LinkedIn profile and also the QR code. And I'm happy to take any questions and discuss further. Before doing that, let me stop sharing and over to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Yeah, so that's a lot of information and that's a lot of motivation, sir. So I think we have approximately 15 minutes for the questions. So as of now, I have like 3 or 4 questions and comments here. And yeah, so before that, I want to invite the audience to actually type out. You can unmute the microphone and ask questions as well, or if you want, you can type out the questions in the chat box right now as well. And also, we have shared this, uh, the attendance form. Actually, that is how we enroll you for the with your consent. That is how we enroll you for the WhatsApp group and the email group. So out of 205 participants, what I see is like 141 have responded. If you have not responded to the attendance form, the link is in the chat. Please type up, fill in the details. Sir, with that, actually, I will showed the first question. This is actually not a question, it's a comment from me. So, so the thing is, the, you know, how could I put this? The thing is, the fear is like AI will replace this job and that job and everything. That is always a constant fear, not just for AI, for any automated tool. So my comment or question is actually about, how or when or will ever AI replace research students? So the experience is this, I mean, I also do a little bit of research, and those days the problem I mainly had was the language problem of the students when they write mainly. So I had to spend a lot of time correcting English and everything. Now, either I can do it using AI, or students themselves would improve their writing using AI. Now, given that, what I feel is the little bit of the training part of the student has been taken over by the AI. So, not like previous students who got the rigorous language training through a supervisor. In the AI era, nobody feels that need, because by displacing that writing task to the AI, we get the job done anyways. So the student wouldn't get that training. So in one perspective, what I feel is with the AI, students would get a little bit less training that they used to, or they would have expected in a world without AI. And the other thing is, just like writing, more and more research skills will be replaced by AI, right? Literature survey and even experimental design, those things will be replaced by AI. So is there like any genuine or a threat that we should worry in, like, I don't know, coming 5 or 10 years, that research students ourselves will be replaced by AI?
It's okay. So that's by the way, so first thing, you are not going to be a research student anymore, and therefore your job in that context is secured, and you can be happy about that. And so the comment, I thought I'll keep this for the question. So you have already asked the question. So this part I can rephrase. So this was said by Fei Li. Fei Li is one very popular AI researcher, and she is one of those who contributed to the recent machine learning and computer vision. So she's ImageNet, like one of those most popular data set for all these Google cars and whatnot to drive is developed by their research group, right? So she's the forefront in that area, like image computer vision. So what she said is AI won't replace humans, but humans using AI will. So we can say AI won't replace research students, but research students using AI will, right? So if you don't know how to use AI tool, so this is the point, right? So one, yes, research students are going to, I mean, just going back through the argument that you had, Kapila, research students are going to get less opportunity to train on certain things like language or even doing literature survey, yes. And they are going to use these tools to do it. And hopefully they will learn how to use these tools to do it properly and also make sure they are done correct. And from your point of view, let's say you had two research students, one knows how to use AI tools to do this better. Okay, let's say you have three research students, right? So one who had no idea about AI tools, do very good research. But he or she can do a lot of just literature survey. Let's say literature survey, the person can do really well. No AI tool. Second person use AI tool, do a crap of it, right? So very bad literature survey, no verification, nothing, can give you results before you turn back, but useless. There's a third research student who can do research, like who can give you results as good as the first person, but can give it in a much faster time. Who would you choose, right? So that's where it is, right? So obviously the first person is good, I mean, more capable, and we can appreciate and clap, but we are also running a race and we want the results to come fast, good
That's
results,
true, sir.
positive results come to fast, right? So then we are going to choose the third person who can do well, use the tool better, do faster. So the tools for now, that understanding is the tools can do things faster, right?
That's true, sir. Yeah.
And they can
Efficiency.
make mistakes, but the mistakes the person has to capture and help us to resolve those, right? So that's where we are, and therefore, yeah. So that's the answer, right? So those who, so that's the whole idea of we coming up with these sessions like this, where we uh, enable or encourage our learners and the researchers to learn how to do these things better, know where mistakes can happen, and therefore they can pick and move forward and do things faster.
So I feel like, sir, it's like more like the law of the wild, the person, not the strongest, but the person who can adapt will be
Yeah,
surviving.
yeah. So that's a common statement, right? So it's true everywhere. And also, I mean, we can go. This is a very like that. The question you asked has multiple dimensions again, like I said earlier, and we can discuss further on it as well. So for example, when I did my very first research, we didn't have Google Scholar.
2006.
Google, not Google Scholar. We didn't have Google.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we didn't have Google when I did research first.
Oh, wait. We are talking about undergraduate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Undergraduate.
I see. Okay.
Right. I didn't have Google. So if when Google and Google Scholar came out, if I say no, I did research, by going to this library and finding all these journal papers, going through them and looked at this index. There's like a big cupboard with index boxes, and I skim through them to find which paper, which rack can I go, which journal, which rack, and go and find it and whatnot. If I say that's what I'm going to do, no Google Scholar or no Scopus database and whatnot. Yeah, so things have changed, right? So yeah. So that way, what I was trying to say is, if you keep on saying, okay, your research skill depends on whether you can go to the library and find the index of a journal, where it is through going through those cards. Yeah. You have them somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, so basically, this lecture series or workshop series might be, propping up or basically keeping up stay afloat in the AI era. So then, sir, there are several other questions from the students. So Randimal asks two questions. The first one, it is specific for engineering students. How can engineering students integrate AI tools into experimental design and data analysis workflows effectively? He's probably asking about the future sessions.
Yeah, we'll discuss those. I mean, yeah, even if you want, if we have enough of engineering students who are interested, we can run a session separately for such engineering and like more of a technical one where, yeah, so engineering type of processes, how it can integrate. There are
Can I
examples.
ask a question, Professor?
Yes.
This is Aravind calling from Jaffna. This is regarding just the previous question has been connected. I'm just doing research on stress. So if there are two students in the classroom, this is what I'm thinking at the moment to do some background. One guy really is having knowledge about some subject. The other guy is really smart in AI. These two people come with some answers. So who is going to have more stress? I believe the person use the AI. The reason why I'm thinking it just like you use your cognitive and you know the way you are going, you know how you are going, but you may come with the answer. It's not smart like the other person. The person come with the AI tool. Definitely AI will take you somewhere, you are lost, then bring the AI back, and you will have more stress than the other person. So I think it's going to suffer from this stress related. Am I right, Professor?
Okay, but a very interesting perspective, but I think it's from our age perspective. I'm sorry, I don't know how old you are, but I think it's a bit older perspective, right? So we are people. I am completely like I can completely relate with you. So if I want to know something, I want to know it. right? So no offense to the new generation, Gen Z and Alpha, but they don't want to know everything they want to know, right? So they want. So I don't know whether they'll really get stressed. But yeah, so I get your point. Yeah, I get your point. But I don't really know whether they'll really get stressed because even if you ask them to learn something, but forget about AI, right? So 5 years ago, if I mean, we are seeing more amplified effect of it now, but even 5 years ago, what you are seeing is more of a shallow, right, type of because now with I think it happened with the digital things like phones and whatnot and the short attention span and whatnot. So the way how I don't really know whether they'll really get stressed by not knowing, but by using. We will definitely will. That's just my perspective. That's an interesting question. Maybe you should do. Have you already done it, or you are doing a research? Are you?
No, I'm just planning. I've done this previously. I was thinking about, okay, this is not ethics. So I'm just thinking about, wow, it's not only ethics, it's but stress.
Yeah, it is. It is an interesting point of view, and we should. Yeah, maybe you can try it in different groups and see who are really. I mean, if you look at us, we'll definitely be stressed.
So it's like the process-oriented generations versus outcome-oriented generations kind of a thing. So I
Yeah.
just want to add like some follow-up to Randima's question. So what I felt was even from our pre-workshop survey, most students they don't feel the need of doing the research design by themselves because if they are recruited for a grant, the supervisors they have done it for them. But I kind of, from Randimal's question, I feel like I'm happy that, students are also getting more and more interested in doing elaborate research design. So I think we will definitely have one or more future sessions. But Sir Randimal has another question. I think it is more far-reaching. In academic research, how can students effectively use AI tools without compromising originality and research integrity? You touched upon this base a bit, but can you please elaborate? Integrity and originality, preserving those things in the AI era.
So yeah, so I touched a little, like you said, one about originality. So one is yeah. So uh, these terms, in fact, like I skipped the discussion of plagiarism for the same reason. It's a long discussion actually, because things like what is original or what is plagiarized in the context of AI, things are changing, right? So, for example, if you look at the definition for plagiarism, it is taking somebody else writing and claiming it as yours, right? So, now in the context of AI, if AI can generate things which is somebody else, not you, and if you start using it, but AI generated, whether it is plagiarism or whether that content is plagiarized, right? So, starting from there, the discussion is a bit more detailed. That is, in fact, like why I didn't go into the plagiarism discussion, and originality comes closer to there. Uh, so, the what I'm trying to say is we'll have there are no there are few places where people have come up with short-term answers. For example, now if you take some journal, like most of the publishers, popular publishers are accepting AI generated content, and but they are putting some limits on what what part of things that you can generate, which part of things that you'll have to write, which part of the things you have to analyze yourself, which part of and so on, right? So there are some guidelines people are putting out. We can take a few guidelines and discuss when we are going into this specific topic, and what those guideline implies. In fact, like recently I got the chance to write the guideline for the National Science Foundation journal, and where we included similar items like reflecting on where we allow the authors to use and where we allow authors to not use, and so on. So there are, like I said, there are some intermediate solutions now, but the ultimate objective would be to rethink and reevaluate what is plagiarism and what is not, or what is copyright, and when AI generate things and whose copyright it is, and so on. So we can go into more detail, but yeah, in the interest of time, I'll stop there. I see like Kapila is getting panicking. It's 10 o'clock.
Not really. So the thing is, I just want to know that whether you are panicking. Actually, sir, the thing is, there's a lot of, I think, 6, 7 more questions. It's 10
Yeah,
o'clock.
we'll go through it quickly. Yeah.
Shall we spend like, 10 more minutes if you don't have another meeting?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. So basically, what I feel is like for every question, we need like a separate session. It's good because this is the kickoff session and we are stirring the interest. So some questions there are some questions that you can give quick answers. Either somebody's asking, Rushini is asking, how about the Prism tool for literature review? So reliability of that tool mainly. It's a direct message I got. The tool called Prism. If you know about this tool.
No, I don't know the specific tool. I mean, obviously, there are plenty of tools that are being built. Can't keep track of every tool. Only a few popular tools we also know. But we'll have to look at from where it is coming, but sort of sources. Like, for example, the tools I mentioned, what I have listed, I have done enough research on those tools, where they are coming, who have published them, and who is behind, and also what is the source. Like, so for example, the tools I was showing, they are coming from popular archives, so popular research archives, right? So we'll have to look at those to decide whether the tool is reliable, and also the model that the tools use. So yeah, so there are plenty of them, and some of them are good and some are not. One is you can try and figure out if you, and all the other one is to do some little more research to figure out who are behind that particular tool.
Yes, sir. Basically, we will be doing anyways, we will be doing a lit review session pretty soon. And then when doing research, Kushani, when doing research, developing an automated algorithm using MATLAB for so the particular case is developing an automated algorithm using MATLAB for a hospital setting. What other type of AI tools could I use for the development in the context of deep learning? I don't know, like the question
That's
too.
specific and detailed. We'll skip it for now. Yeah. We
Yeah.
will be discussing about like specific design, those things later, right? So we'll have to discuss it.
Basically, she has to participate in 2, 3 more sessions to get a coherent idea, right? Yeah. Basically, this entire series is about answering these kind of questions. They have very long answers spread throughout the time. Ranindu, again, a direct message. You mentioned the journals are accepting AI-assisted papers. Can you explain more about the use of AI in writing research papers and how it is related to plagiarism or disqualification? Oh, this is a critical question, I would say. I think, sir, you got the question. It was a direct message.
But the last part, disqualification, is it?
Yeah, sir. Basically, I think what Ranindu is asking is, yeah, okay, it seems like journals are accepting AI papers, but there will be a line drawn somewhere, right? So,
yes. So in fact, I wrote a few few articles, including in LinkedIn and other places on the same topic. So the idea, I mean, where they draw line is also changing, but the journals, if you just go and look at some journals, maybe what I'll do, let's look at the next questions, but in the meantime, I will share something that I wrote even recently. I think I did something in National Science Foundation Journal as well, the editorial piece I wrote recently last year, where I have gone through a number of journals and looked at the number of publishers, actually, not specific journals, Springer, Elsevier, publishers like that, and then looked at their guidelines and said what it implies. Like, for example, some of them are saying, okay, you can. So like almost all publishers are accepting grammar correction type of AI tools, right? So simple, like Grammarly, anybody can use. Everybody is accepting. But then there are tools like generative AI tools like ChatGPT and whatnot, and also any other research type of tools. Others are accepting, but they are saying, okay, you can use it in literature review. You can use it for some places, you can use it for explaining results, but obviously you don't use it for generating some results, right? So they list down such things, and also one is that angle. The other angle is you look at when you are allowed to use such tools, the journals are also asking you to be transparent in terms of the usage. So they are asking you, okay, tell us how you used it. So you are going to add an appendix to your journal submission where they have editors and the reviewers have access. They'll say, okay, I have used AI tool. This is how I have used it, right? So they have again guideline on what to include in such a appendix. So these are things that are already happening. So you can just go and Springer, look for the journal in Springer or Elsevier or IEEE and IEEE for like more engineering type of things and look at their guidelines. And such details are there. It's basically part of the author guideline now. So, like author guideline includes things like how you have to write the paper, how many pages, what sort of fonts, what sort of style. And in addition, now they're also adding how do you use AI into it. And there are places who are still not allowing the other part of it, the rejection part of it. There are still journals who are saying not to use. And when they say not to use, in fact, they are in sort of a trouble. Why I say that is that then we'll have to, the journal's responsibility is to prove that if you're going to reject, they have to prove that you have not used. It's the same trouble we all academics are also in things like assessments, homework assignments and assessments. The same trouble we are also in. So because AI tools have decent amount of false positives, and meaning they can identify wrong, the right submission as AI generated, because you have to just take a step back and think about it. All these generative AI tools, their objective is to make or generate content like people, right? So that's the whole research. AI research is about. Generative AI is supposed to make output like how people do, right? So that is the research. And the more you do research, the better they become. And if these tools become really good, then how do we identify who is AI and who is people? So we'll have to then sit and pray that the AI researchers don't do a good job. So the AI tools are going to be not as good as people. That can differentiate.
Kapila, can you hear me? Can I ask one question if that's all right, if you have time?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Roshan. I enjoyed all the entire session. About the tools that you have mentioned, about how we can use Gen AI tools for the research purpose. I'm Sangeeta. I'm in the UK at the moment, and I am teaching some modules in one of the universities. Basically, I'm a early career researcher, and also a lecturer. I have one question, mostly because for the technical part of the research, we know there is some technicality, and that is the originality that normally reviewers look into the papers. But when it comes to literature focused papers, like if we give a good prompt with a good context, even the ChatGPT, Gemini, or any other AI tools can give us a draft, the first draft. But that may or may not be a good literature focused study, right? So when it comes to original knowledge, or if there is something that needs to be strong in the literature focused studies, what are the key elements that we need to look forward to it, so that the paper will be, though we have taken the help from the AI tools on the idea generation, but entirely like the recommendation maybe, or the methodological aspects. So how do we make sure that the papers that we are writing has the scope in the market, or has the scope in the research area?
So the question you ask in the last part of the question, in fact, like at the beginning, there are two parts, but the last part of the question is, I don't think it's AI specific, right?
Yeah.
So that's the generic question that you're asking. And
It's a generic question, yeah.
Yeah, so I hope we know the answer. We have been publishing literature reviews of various nature for the last 100 plus or 200, 300 years. So I hope it's the same answer. So we had to look for the same answer. The answer is how a proper literature review works. Depends on which type of literature review it is, whether it's scoping, whether it is systematic, or whether it is meta, the type of literature review. We have a sort of a template and something established already on how or what is expected in those literature reviews. So that part of the question, I think we'll just have to, for now, we are there. I don't know the future. So for now, that's the baseline. So we'll have to follow that. And the future is also part of the answer to your other question, which is we are putting if you put a good prompt, the tools are doing well. Yes, that's the future, I think. So learning how to give a good prompt.
Because of this, I think there is a mass production on the research papers. There will be in the future as well. And also from the reviewer side, maybe there will be some restriction, or they will be specifically looking for that, the research gap that the paper is trying to talk about. I think the overall concept that you have delivered on using AI to help for the research, that is really interesting. I even got to know about the new tools that you have mentioned, which are integrated with the chat GPT. But that's my worry, like what the future looks like in the research area.
Yeah. So it is a concern, but that's where we are heading to. So until we figure out something different, I mean, the baseline right now is without AI, right? So the baseline we set is without, and now that's AI, and therefore we are trying to navigate with the same baseline. So when it is going to change, what will happen? It's a longer discussion. In fact, like few groups are discussing those, as you might also know, but we don't have any concrete answers there yet.
So I think
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I kind of resonate with Sangeet actually, sir. The thing is, I know even without AI and even with AI, writing a uniform, unbiased review article has been extremely difficult. I think the biggest problem is, especially for like, Sri Lanka and other, not very, privileged countries, the accessibility of papers. So we had this AI for like, I don't know, 2, 3 years for now. All the bloom is there. We are still in the bloom. It's not going to be a bubble. It's for real. It's here for stay. But the thing is, sir, I still don't. This is my personal, feeling. I still don't see the paper accessibility or knowledge accessibility has increased with AI. Even if we do, generate knowledge with AI, they are not kind of democratically accessible. It goes to the publication mafia black hole, right?
Yeah. No. So there are some things that they don't change. So and also we can't expect AI to come and fix it. I think so far, until we figure out, I mean, in the longer discussion, yes. For example, now if we are selling or AI is using our data, maybe AI had to buy some research. So in the research context, right? So if AI is using our data, maybe the same AI company, so the model had to buy the research papers from these people who are selling them and give it to us, right? So that's one way of looking at it. So the other one obviously is, I mean, we are also pushing a lot towards open access. So that's that when it happens, then this AI will obviously use them, right? So, but yeah, so we are in between. Yeah.
So, sir, Kitushant actually has several, I would say like some experience sharing, but with questions. So the first one, when using deep search platforms like ChatGPT for research writing, the usual experience he explains is the first prompt gives a good answer. But when we continue with follow-up prompts, the responses sometimes go off topic and hallucinations start to appear. Why does this thing happen? Why does this particular pattern happens, and how can we avoid it? From our point of view, our goal is to consistently build and improve the first answer, but we struggle due to these hallucinations. I think it's kind of a it's his experience, and maybe we all have that
Yeah,
experience.
this is something that I said, like we will be discussing at a later stage on which model to use and how to connect. Like even you can say if you're using something like ChatGPT, and then if you have multiple options there, just ask ChatGPT and see which model is supposed to do what. If you want to do a literature review and write it down, what is the best option, right? So we were talking about the specific tools within ChatGPT. I'm just taking one example, right? So the same kind of applied across, but we are using these different tools within ChatGPT, and also it has different models like AI, like large language models, and some of them spend more time. Some of them do various other analysis in between, right? So there are differences, right? So when you want to write something down and put something concrete, yeah, so in fact, like if I want to do, let's say I want to prepare, uh, let's say a presentation on a topic that I know to some extent, but I don't have a lot of time to sit and prepare, right? So now what I would do is I'll use one of these tools, but I'll be using not the same model. I know which model will give the right. Say, for example, the Pro model in ChatGPT is good at analytical things. I mean, I told you earlier, yes, analytical things, these things are bad, but relatively, right? So relatively, it's good. So, but when it comes to finding things and looking at reliable sources, taking things from evidence, the research model or the deep research model is better. So when you want to just don't have a lot of money, you want to do things faster, then you can just use the default model or the basic model and various. So understanding such features and what these models mean, at least to some, you don't have to understand how they really exactly work, but then what do they do, right? So understanding that, you can put them together to come up with a better output response compared to you just use one model, keep on asking it to, I mean, keep on going in a maybe a rabbit hole, right? Um, so those are things we'll be discussing later, and also look at some example to show that what it really means.
So there's another question from Buddhik actually. So I would put it in a different frame. So his question is, I'm interested in nutrition research. How can I use AI for starting a research? Which tools are most effectively used? So I will zoom out and represent the question to you. Like, how are we going to use AI cautiously in this kind of research where, nutrition research and all the other things where ethical clearance and lives are involved?
No, so the research part of it anyway, we had to do research, right? So I mean, what I mean by that is the experiments and whatnot, methods and experiments and all that we still had to do, and we can use AI to maybe do some of these writing, logistics, paperwork faster, but the rest we had to do. And if you are talking about just starting, I would suggest, like for example, the small tools I was talking about, they have access to certain repositories, right? So not all tools have access to all repos. Like, so, if you take Scopus, like of the type of apply index, they have certain type of papers. And if you look at IEEE or ACN type of repos, they have certain type of papers. If you take another field, social sciences, there might be another one. And so if you take nutrition or whatnot, maybe there's PubMed and whatnot, right? So there are different repos. And what I would suggest is look at a tool that has access to the repo that usually you would use for literature review. If you are like a specific field, if you want to look for work in that field, and let's say the journals that you normally would refer to, do the tools have access to those? By the way, something that we are not discussing in detail is any one of these tools, when you are using them, generally don't have access to the paid version of research papers, right? So generally what they have access to are the abstracts and the open access ones, right? So there are a few tools. So that is another thing you have to look at when you're finding tools. See whether the tool has access to all the data or everything in a paper, or is just having access to the abstract and open access journals only, right? So those are things you'll have to look at if you want to be more serious and use these tools in detail. Yeah.
So a follow-up actually. So even before AI, we had this difference between getting cited, difference of visibility between open access journals and the paid journals. So paid journals always get less visibility, even when humans are manually citing them. So because of AI, would this gap increase?
Mm, No, so I mean, tools, all the tools that I mentioned are at least getting access to the title and the abstract and the authors, the public information. So that way, I don't see there is going to be a big difference unless, yes, obviously the same issue, right? So if somebody wants to go and look at more details of the paper, or even if you want to like, say, if they want to go into detail using a tool, they might not have access. So that issue is going to be the same. Otherwise, they'll have access to things like Google Scholar type of access to any tool, any paper they'll have, the tools will have. So I'm not sure whether it will make any big difference in that sense. It might amplify like because we are going to do more literature.
So I think this will be my final question in the interest of time. Actually, Akmal asks a question. Actually, she says she's not sure whether the question is relevant right now, but I think it is very relevant because this is about AI policy, and you are one of the AI policy gurus in Sri Lanka. What about Sri Lankan universities' stand in integrating AI tools in research and their university publications? What about UGC guidelines regarding the AI emergence in the university system? So the current survey and what are the UGC guidelines, sir?
So universities, so UGC, first easy question. UGC still doesn't have one. We are in standing committees talking about it. We haven't put anything out yet. So UGC doesn't have one. Universities depends. Some universities like ours, for example, has a guideline, and where it's, I think most of the guidelines, for good or bad, are on the positive side of how we can make the best out of it while being cautious, right? So that's how the guidelines are so far. Uh, our guideline is going to become a policy soon, and the draft is being made within. And the UGC is also basically talking about a policy, and it still hasn't happened. Um, so the other universities, I think Colombo has one, a similar stage like ours, and a few others. I'm not fully up to date. I don't know who is asking question from where. Yeah, that's where we are so far. But it's generally the guidelines are or the policies are positive facing while being cautious. So similar to how, because we are anyway talking about research here, I think research we took not just in Sri Lankan context or locally, but generally we took a very brave step. When generative AI came into picture, we took brave step, as brave as like attributing AI as an author. As you might remember, in 2022, 2023, there were papers where ChatGPT was one of the authors, right? So that was too like that was like stupidly brave, and then we realized, so we were being brave. That's what my point is, and later we decided that's a stupid mistake we made, and now we change it. But we are being brave and facing positive while being cautious. Yeah.
So yeah, one footnote, she's actually from Southeastern University.
Okay, I don't think they have a guideline.
Okay, so the other thing is, yeah, so basically, I think you answered like all those questions and it's 10:23. So I think it's time to wind up. Yeah.
Yes.
So, actually, so as you all know, this is the kicking off of a series of sessions like this, uh, actually, to be organized, going deep into integrating AI into various steps of research. And we consider this as actually some sampling as well. And what I see is now we have to have online sessions because we have an overwhelming participation from outside the university. So Wednesday, midday, in-person sessions might not serve this audience as we discussed before. So we'll try to have it after hours online. We'll have an inside discussion of the AIFX and AIFS executive committees as well. So basically, we have 165 responses out of 205 participants. So that's really good. So we will be in touch with this entire audience, and we'll be updating what are the new sessions we are going to do in the coming future. And first of all, I have to thank my team, basically the AIFS esteem Anjali, the president of SPS, and Nitmi, the new secretary of SPS, for handling all these things while having research proposal presentations and also mid semesters, and also from the University of Peradeniya staff, Miss Satya and Miss Roshani, who helped, who are always helping. And also, I think I should thank Isuri for recording all the videos and stuff for you, even though she's not here anymore.
That's like an old recording anyway. Thanks to her, definitely, yes.
And also the encouragement I got from text messages and everything in the inaugural session. And last but not least, a big thanks goes to Senior Professor Roshan Ragil. The senior thing doesn't feel comfortable, I know, for actually agreeing with all these things. I think I pushed him, Satya pushed him a lot to and we expressed our very niche interests, like this session should be like this, it should not be like this, and everything. Thank you for listening to us and giving us like a real dynamic start. I think it was well aligned with all the plans we had. And thank you very much, sir. And yeah, we'll be arranging more and more sessions like this for you in the coming future, and we will be in touch through email and WhatsApp. Any final thoughts, sir, before we say goodnight?
Yeah, so thank you for having me, and I am also humbled by the amount of responses and the questions. Yeah, happy to share what my thoughts here. Thank you and the experience.
Yeah, so then thank you again, sir, and let's say good night to everybody. And we will actually meet up like in like our first main session in, let's say, in no time. And thank you everybody for joining, and good night everybody. And thank you.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Right. Bye.
Bye.